they didn't want to play Tracer anymore because the Ana supports the Tracer a lot less than the Zen does, right? Tracer with the healing orb outduels Tracer, you know, with Ana healing. Ana has a tough time healing Tracer because you have to focus on the hog, that kind of stuff. So we are playing the Tracer because we have that Zen orb for it, because Striker's really good at Tracer. In the quarterfinals, Dynasty kind of mirrored. They played the Hammond with Marvel, and they played the Tracer with Prophet. They decided, hey, let's not take that Tracer mirror. Let's make sure we play around our Ana. We're going to play more stacked. Going to play more of our ranged comp. And they're going for Ashe Hanzo, which this is just double sniper, right? Except this map is pretty short. The distances here are all pretty short. So the Ashe effective range is good. You don't need the Widow to get that longer effective range. That's why they're playing the Ashe. And they're going to play this comp with either Widow or Ashe for the whole series. Except on Gibraltar defense, where they play like a Genji, which destroyed us, but we'll get into that later. We're going to avoid the Roadhog 1v1, or we're going to not take as much space. We're going to let our Tracer and our Hammond do a little bit more. So that is why you see Gesture walk on the high ground, but Super stays back, right? And this is something where they are fully committed to a poke comp. Right, they don't have any divers, so they have a lot more Roadhog damage, right? They have a lot more close range damage, and we have to play a little more of a hit and run style. So that's why we're playing more passive. They're playing more aggressive, and we're setting up a flank meanwhile, right? You see Smurf and Striker over here. Smurf goes for like a rollout boop, right? He tries to grapple here, tries to get the boop. It's a good try. Smurf doesn't get a boop. He gets in a little bit of an awkward spot. And there is a lot of CC for Smurf here, right? They've got the sleep. They've got the Roadhog hook. They got the Sigma stun. So there's a lot of stuns. And there's also a lot of follow-up damage, right? This Dynasty comp is pretty rooted, right? They don't have a Tracer. They don't have a Hammond. So it's hard for them to chase down people. But if they can lock up Smurf and then combo him, he can still die, right? Especially if he's naded. And we have a harder time, right, going in with our Roadhog, because if our Roadhog gets hooked or gets a hook, he's going to get slept or naded. Well, if their Roadhog gets done that, right, we can Discord, but not as much support that we have for Super, right? There's also not as much heals. So we really have to play off our DPS. We have to play off Violet, and that's kind of the game plan that's going on here. So I thought that this was a really interesting matchup. Super's basically going to have to play like a little bitch at the start of these fights, and then when everything breaks out, he can go up, right? But this is why I thought it was pretty impressive that Super actually in this grand finals, he had higher damage amount than Gesture did. So I thought that was really interesting. Hey, like if we have the Transcendence, we'll play just like Nano Boost, right? Where Super and Violet will play more aggressive, and then use it to create that push for us that we need, because it's really tough to push an Ana when you're playing Zen, but it's a lot easier when you have point control, right? So what's going to happen now is they're going to have to walk in, they're going to get discorded, they're going to get headshot by aunts, and they're going to have to create the space, which against Zen, that's really tough because you get discorded when you peek, right? But against Ana, that's a little bit easier, but the Ana is a lot better at retaking, right? Because you have a lot more healing for the Roadhog, right? So if you take damage because your Roadhog needs to take space, the Ana really helps with that. So that's why I always say the Ana is really good for retakes, but the Zen is really good for defenses, because the enemy team has to walk into your LOS. You don't have to take so much damage because you already have the space, and you deal so much more damage because of that. So this is basically the dream scenario for us. Even though it's 55-14, I'd say we have an advantage right now, just because that last fight was really bad for Seoul's ult economy, right? We shouldn't have won that fight. We won it 5v6 because Seoul was too split. Fitz ends up dying, Marvel ends up dying, right? And they use a bunch of ultimates, and they don't win the fight. And now we have so many ults. And we're going to be rolling out with the BAP. And this is because we expected Prophet to still go to Fair here, because the day before, and the first time against us, Prophet played the Fair on this map. And after this, we said, okay, we're not going to prepare too much for the Fair anymore. They might play it in some future map, but they've obviously swapped their playstyle, right? And this has historically been one of the best Fair maps. So we kind of expected them to pick it here, but they end up going for this comp, which I think the Fair would have actually been pretty good. So interesting, but we end up picking the map. But either way, Violet is the best mechanical map in the game, and we just play him like another DPS. So even against not the fair, he still does a lot of work, and we'll highlight his map pick here. Oh, look at how he dodged the hook there. That's crazy, right? That hook was on point from Gesture. Violet hears it, and he jumps over the hook. Jumps as the hook comes out. Jumps over it. Also drones himself. That's some Matrix stuff right there, this is. He like had a sixth sense of like when the hook was coming. Because he saw a gesture in his peripheral vision. And then he's able to dodge the hook. Just barely. With the jump. Jumps over it. Drones himself because obviously the Ash is shooting him too, so he doesn't want to get a headshot. This is a really strong spot to hold with like a long range character like Ash. Because we have cover over here. And there's like no cover out here that you can hide behind. So we're just going to sit here and we're going to spam them. And then hopefully we're also going to bap ult this. That'd be really good right here. This is really useful for both Violet and for Ans. Violet actually ends up getting killed here. Oh, and it's a shame Ans misses this Dynamite. Because Dynamite actually does double damage with the Bap ult. That's like a really strong combo. It's that Dynamite through Bap ult. Does twice as much damage. It's kind of a shame that we don't hit this. Because if we hit this on Prophet here, for example, he would be one shot by the Dynamite. Prophet pops off here. Prophet kills like everybody. Oh. Oh, that was a nasty headshot. Wait a second. Well, he ends up getting booped. And because he gets booped, his crosshair ends up lining up with Striker's blink. And he ends up killing Striker. That is crazy. And he ends up getting another headshot. Nice plays from Prophet. That was a crazy shot at the Striker. Like, if he doesn't hit that shot, he's dead 100%. Because he went to like 40 HP even with Striker being dead. Good thing about this map is that you can stall for a really long time on this map, right? If you have this part of the map, they have to like push around and try to surround you. And we have Tracer and Hammond dead, but they're two of the fastest characters to come back in the game. So we might be able to stall this out actually. But as you can see, our Tracer's already back. So we're going to stall this for a little bit with our Tracer. Then our Hammond's going to come back in. So that's another really strong thing about Tracer Hammond on Koth, right? Is that you can ping pong the point forever. They actually go for the hook on Super here. Which... wow, Super actually ends up killing him. Wait, so that was really interesting. First of all, if they just nano boost Gesture here, he kills everybody, right? So I'm not sure why they don't nano boost Gesture after this hook comes out. Just to clean up the fight. Nano boost is one of the fastest building ults in the game. So just use it, you know? And Super actually ends up killing Gesture here, which is really interesting. I think it's because of Moth's damage boost. He ends up getting the shot plus hook plus headshot plus melee combo. Ends up one-shotting Gesture, even though he's nated. Wait, Moth actually ends up getting a res on Super. Flies inside. He does the super jump. And then he reses. So he's really sneaky right now. He just gets that res. Dodges the pulse bomb too. Super comes back in. Raid boss Super is back. This is a crazy fight right here. Ends up killing Prophet. Now they nano boost Gesture. Ans now ends up cleaning up. Wow. Some nice headshots. Oh, he actually kills Creative in the backline. So Ans clutches up hard this fight as well. And I think this all just came down to greediness from Dynasty to try and save all these ults that they eventually used anyway. But if they just nano boost Gesture there, they kill Super. This would have been over a while ago. But Moth actually unkillable apparently. They end up killing Fitz midair too. And yeah, that is one crazy fight. general principle stays, right? We're going to try and stay away from the Roadhog 1v1. We're going to go aggressive with our Hammond and Tracer onto discorded targets. And we're going to do a lot more long range damage. And they actually have the double sniper. But still, because of the Discord orb and the Zenyatta, if we can get these flanks and these discords, we have a lot better cleanup, right? If they hit a body shot, it's hard for them to follow up. But if we hit a body shot with Ons, then we can easily blink in or slam in and finish those targets off, right? So we have a lot more cleanup than they do, which is what I think the Tracer and Hammond excel at. They're a lot better at finishing off these fights, especially when they get chaotic, and finishing off kills. This is really not good for the Seoul Dynasty though, I feel. They're all together, right? They're all in a ball. They're all in a little clump. So we can now get a surround, right? They are really clumped up. We're getting a little bit more angles here. Now they're spreading out a little bit more. They're still on the same angle. So we can all LOS the DPS by playing here. Playing on this side of the point, we LOS both Prophet and Fitz. So that is a little bit tough for Seoul Dynasty. You know, they want to clean this up. They need to get more angles and more spread out on the point, but that also allows us to come back in, right, and maybe kill somebody. Violet playing over here, Super's playing over here, so we have really strong positioning here. We're trying to keep Striker up. Striker actually ends up stalling this point for like a million years because it's so hard to push him because of Once's LOS. Then Smurf comes back in. We end up stalling it. This map was just crazy, right? We were able to stall the point for so long, and in one fight we were even free down. We end up winning that fight. So this is why the Hammond Tracer is so damn good, and we were able to play it to like a really high level, and I think our team did really good that even when, you know, we like had one death, still able to kite back and win those fights.